The air in the bank lobby was stifling with tension. Every eye was either fixed on her, or deliberately avoiding hers. The woman in the navy blue suit stood motionless, her mouth slightly parted, holding the slip of paper she had just filled out. Behind the polished counter, the young teller stared at her with a raised brow and a twisted smirk. I already told you. This is a private client section. You're in the wrong queue, the teller snapped, loud enough for others to hear. A few feet away, a group of employees burst into laughter. But the woman, calm, poised, yet visibly stunned, remained still, blinking slowly as the ridicule wrapped around her like a cold fog. Before we continue, if you are watching our video for the first time, you're highly welcome to Elliot Stories. Please bless and support us by hitting that subscribe button. Turn on your notification bell to get notified for more edifying stories coming your way tomorrow and never to miss any. Share to friends who love stories filled with twist and morals and loved ones who value respect and justice no matter the cost. Where are you watching from? Please tell us in the comments. We love seeing how far our story travels. To our unique constant viewers, our highly esteemed subscribers, our lovely new viewers, and our amazing first-time subscribers, thank you for being part of our growth. Her name was Lydia Marlowe. Few people knew her face outside the boardroom because she didn't flaunt wealth. She wore elegance like skin, quiet, strong, unassuming. She founded Marlowe Finance Group, a multinational financial services firm worth over $3.2 billion, with offices across 5 countries. And the very bank she now stood in, Monarch Federal, had been acquired by her firm just 3 weeks ago. Only a select few at corporate level knew the transition was complete. This branch, nestled in the heart of the city's elite commercial district, was the crown jewel of Monarch. It was also a hive of entitlement. Most of the staff were convinced they were untouchable. It was here Lydia had chosen to walk in unannounced, without an escort, without the black Range Rover or the security detail. And now, standing there in front of a snickering crowd, she had just been told she didn't belong. "Young lady," Lydia said softly, the weight in her voice betraying nothing. "Can you just help me with the transaction?" The teller crossed her arms. "I've told you twice. This section is for high-net-worth individuals. There's a regular teller on the other side." "She can't read, obviously," said a man behind her, laughing with 2 female staffers. "Probably thinks just wearing a suit gets her VIP status." Lydia turned slowly. Her eyes scanned the faces of the staff laughing. 1 man, 4 women. All well-dressed, all grinning as though they were watching a comedy skit. A senior-looking man in a grey suit stepped out of the glass office nearby. "What's going on here?" he barked, annoyed. "She's in the wrong place, sir," the teller called out before Lydia could speak. "I told her this is private client only, but she won't move." The manager turned to Lydia with a rehearsed smile. We have policies in place. Kindly use the appropriate queue." Lydia raised her head, slipped her hand into her bag, and retrieved a thin black folder. She opened it slowly and pulled out a document. Without a word, she placed it gently on the counter. The teller rolled her eyes. "What's this now?" The manager picked it up with a sigh, then paused. His eyes moved slowly over the page. The blood drained from his face. Then he read aloud. "Effective June 2nd, all domestic operations of Monarch Federal shall be owned and overseen by Marlowe Finance Group, as approved by the Central Regulatory Bureau." He blinked. His lips trembled. "What?" "Keep reading," Lydia said quietly. "All senior management are instructed to comply with the transition team, led by CEO Lydia Marlowe, whose authority takes effect immediately." Dead silence. Every eye that had mocked her was now wide and pale. One of the women who had laughed earlier gasped and dropped her folder. "I thought you looked familiar," whispered one teller, stunned. "I walked into this bank this morning," Lydia said calmly, stepping back from the counter, "to see how my investment is being managed at branch level. What I met was laughter, mockery, prejudice, and clear procedural violation." The room had frozen. No one asked for my name. No one asked what services I needed. I was judged by my skin tone and simplicity. That's not a bank. That's a disgrace with air conditioning. The manager cleared his throat. "Miss Marlowe, if I had known." "You're the branch head. It's your job to know. And worse, you encouraged this. You didn't investigate. You supported the disrespect." She turned toward the teller. "What's your name?" The teller's voice was barely a whisper. "Amanda." "Well, Amanda, you just profiled the woman who signs your paycheck." Gasps echoed around the room. Lydia turned to the man who had mocked her earlier. "And you? What's your role?" He looked down. "Client Relations Officer. Effective immediately, you're no longer an employee of this bank." "What?" he shouted. "You can't." Lydia raised a hand. "You're dismissed. Please hand over your badge." Security arrived at the door almost on cue, alerted by a quiet call from her executive assistant who had been watching everything from a car outside. The security guard took the man by the arm, escorting him quietly. Lydia turned to Amanda. "You're suspended. Indefinitely. Without pay. HR will reach out to you." Amanda stammered. "Please, I didn't mean." "You meant exactly what you did," Lydia replied. "You just never expected consequences." The room remained still. Every staff member stood like glass. No laughter. No smug faces. Just the sound of regret rising in the silence. Lydia then walked to the middle of the lobby. "I want every staff member here," she said, her voice clear. Within seconds, the rest of the bank employees trickled out from behind desks and backrooms, forming a quiet circle around her. "I'm not here to play hero or teach humiliation. I'm here because institutions like this should represent integrity, not hierarchy. Respect should not be based on how expensive someone's bag is, or how closely they match your idea of elite." Her voice rose, but not in anger. When customers walk into these doors, they should feel seen, heard, and valued. If you treat them based on how they look, you're not just hurting the bank, you're hurting people. She turned slowly. 3 weeks ago, this was your bank. Today, it's mine. And under my leadership, we don't do status-based service. We do people-first excellence. If that's a problem for you, the exit is wide and waiting. No one moved. No one blinked. "Good," she said. "Now I want every staff member to retrain. Effective this afternoon, there will be a full session on human dignity, unconscious bias, and ethical conduct. And I will personally oversee the next 2 client interactions. If I detect even a whiff of discrimination, I will clean this place like a broken machine." The staff nodded, silently. Some looked tearful. Others ashamed. Later that afternoon, Lydia watched as an elderly woman in plain clothes walked in. She observed closely from the manager's office as staff greeted her warmly, offered her a seat, and handled her request with care. Another man came in, quiet, modestly dressed, and was served with respect. The message had landed. Outside, the executive assistant approached Lydia. There's press coverage already. The story is catching fire. What should we say?" Lydia smiled faintly. "Let it spread. Let the world know what happens when justice meets power silently." That night, social media erupted. Videos from the bank's internal camera leaked, likely by a remorseful employee. One frame showed Lydia standing tall while a group laughed at her. Another showed the stunned silence when she pulled out the acquisition letter. Comments flooded in. "This is how you check discrimination, with grace and action. Never judge a book." She just rewrote the whole library. Monarch Bank just became the standard for leadership. 2 weeks later, Monarch's client trust ratings soared by 87%. Lydia launched a new program, Lead with Honor, a company-wide training across all Marlowe finance branches. The staff who remained became ambassadors for reform. Amanda never returned. The fired employee later publicly apologized in a LinkedIn post that went viral. He ended it with, "I learned the hard way, respect is the real uniform. Wear it every day." Moral lesson. Power doesn't need to shout to be heard. And true leadership isn't about titles, it's about how you treat those you think can't do anything for you. In a world where appearance often overshadows essence, may we all remember, respect should never be earned through status, it should be given through humanity. This story was humbly crafted and brought to you by Elliot Stories. Catch you on the next one.